Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Walk-in Transport seminar of the autumn semester 2020. As you maybe know, this is the second edition of our seminar. We started last semester in March, first at ETH in Zurich on site, and then due to the COVID-19 situation, we switched to an online seminar with Zoom. And as it was such a big success and a lot of people were interested in it, we now continue it this semester online. And yes, first, as an introduction, like the hosts are still the same. We are Swissloop and EuroTube, the EuroTube Foundation. My name is Nathalie Nick. I'm from Swissloop, the Hyperloop team of ETH Zurich. And Fabio Dubois is from the EuroTube Foundation.
Hey, everyone.
As a new point this semester, we welcome the Hochschule Emden Leer from Germany, represented by Lukas Eschment. They join as a contributor and a partner institution to this seminar edition. And they also work on Hyperloop research, and today we give a short introduction seminar from the Swissloop, the EuroTube, and the Hochschule Emden Leer perspective. Then on the next slide, we see a short overview from our seminar today. Now it's gone.
Can you reshare the screen?
Yeah.
Good, second slide.
Yes. So here we present you an overview of today's content. So first we quickly introduce what is vacuum transportation. Then Swissloop and EuroTube introduces itself and gives a short insight from on what we do. And afterwards, Lukas from University of Applied Sciences Emden Leer shows what kind of research they are doing. And we move to the goal of the seminar and give also a short insight into the schedule. And last but not least, we introduced the Slido tool, which we already used last semester, where during the seminar session during the presentations of the students, you can pose your questions, and at the end we always go into a discussion round and go through all your questions. Now, what is vacuum transportation? I assume most of you have already heard of it. So there was a concept in the 80s and 90s in Switzerland called Swiss Metro. Unfortunately, due to cost reasons, it was never realized, but that was the first concept already developed in Switzerland back then. Then in 2019, it was reintroduced by Elon Musk with the Hyperloop Alpha white paper, whereafter the Hyperloop pod competition came alive. And it was held from 2017 to 2019. Unfortunately, this year, there was no Hyperloop pod competition. And that's why a lot of Hyperloop teams formed all over the world. Like every year there were about 1,000 teams and who started into the competition year, and 20 teams, it was never down to 20 teams, and those 20 teams were invited to Los Angeles. Also Lukas' former team and Swissloop, we were also present at the Hyperloop pod competition. And yes, all the teams had to go through 1 week of intense testing, and in the end, the fastest pod won the competition. Then, what is Swissloop? So Swissloop is the Hyperloop team of ETH Zurich. We're all students from different backgrounds. We're mostly from mechanical and electrical engineering, but also computer science, and also people from business and communication, design, So we're very interdisciplinary. And in the course of 1 year, we develop a Hyperloop prototype. And we're based at ETH Zurich, but we also have students from other Swiss universities. And during 1 year, we develop this prototype and focus on participating at the competitions and at international events. We have close contact to sponsors, but the whole engineering we do on site and in-house by the students. So now we have beginning of October, mid-September, the new team started. We're now an active team of 25 students. And we're also a focus project of the Department of Mechanical and Process Engineering at ETH. So we have some students in the team who receive credit points. And yeah. Then here you can see a short overview from the Swissloop history. So it was founded in 2016. And yeah, in the top left, you can see the pod, which was developed in the first year. It was named after the founder of ETH Zurich, Alfred Escher. It placed third at the Hyperloop pod competition. Then a year after, the pod also participated in the Hyperloop pod competition again. It placed in the top 10 and was named after a Swiss sprinter called Muchinga. Then in 2018 and 2019, we participated again and placed second in the competition. And the pod was named after Claude Nicollier, the only Swiss astronaut. Then last year, in 2019 and 2020, as I said, there was no Hyperloop pod competition, but still we kept developing and producing a pod. This one you can see on the bottom right. It was named after a Swiss race car driver, Simona De Silvestro. And on the top right, you can see this year's team from 2020 and 2021. And yes, so yeah, as I said, we started roughly a month ago, and we're looking forward to this year's development. And on the next slide, we present you a small overview of the prototypes we developed so far. Yeah, so the first prototype was with a cold gas propulsion, second one with electric motors, the third one with a linear induction motor, which we now specialize in. Then we continued the linear induction motor development in 2019 and 2020, and that's also the goal for this year, to continue this development and to further specialize on the linear induction motor. Yes, that was a short insight into Swissloop and an overview. And as you saw, like Swissloop is focusing on Hyperloop prototypes, so on the vehicles. And our research partner, the EuroTube Foundation, they are focusing on the infrastructure development. And now I'd like to hand over to Fabio, who gives an insight to what the EuroTube Foundation is doing.
Thank you, Natalie. I'm very curious to see what this emoji will lead to. Happy to follow your progress. So yeah, I'm today presenting the EuroTube Foundation. We were also partner, we were also the host of last year's edition, and happy to again show you what we also do on the infrastructure side, what research we do, what kind of projects we are currently involved in, and also happy, of course, to bring in guest speakers, industry experts that can share their knowledge with all of us and to have a discussion, no matter which topic, as long as it is related to vacuum transport, of course. So we have a project which is called AlphaTube. It's this test track in Wallis, which will be hopefully the most advanced test track for vacuum transportation worldwide. We want to test high speeds that have never been reached before and really have a test platform that enables to test and validate all the models and interplays between the necessary subsystems, be it in the interplay with the vehicle, but of course with all the other let's say, infrastructure and safety related subsystems. What do we do? Who are we? We are a non-profit research foundation based here in Switzerland, of course. And we have these three pillars that we are active in, which is on one side, research and development. We co-develop with industry, with research partners, be it professors at ETH or at the EPFL, or also in neighboring countries, in Germany, yeah, basically in Europe. Technology to accelerate the vacuum transport and to also make industry ready when this emerging market is ready for actual passenger and cargo transport. The second pillar is the incubation and transfer pillar here in the middle. There we also have the opportunity within our non-profit setting to actually provide certain technology also for third-party applications and have the ability to actually spin off certain technologies earlier into also other existing markets and have the chance to play with these synergies. And the last pillar where we also are active in is certification and regulation, be it on national level. So for example, with the BAV, Bundesamt für Verkehr, or also European consortia, we are playing an active role in defining those standards and also discuss them in public and back them up with data. Of course, in the best case, as soon as we have the test track ready, we want to also provide actual measurements and actual tests. So those are the three activities. Currently, this is the master plan that we are following. Of course, if you want to know more in detail what is happening at the foundation, please reach out to me. But in a nutshell, currently we are in the prototyping phase where we are really testing the subsystems and engineering them to have a well-functioning construction project, which will be submitted to the Canton of Wallis, and they will then assess if this is a valid and also feasible project to be implemented by next year. So we're already quite advanced in the permit, let's say, marathon, as we call it. And hopefully next summer or next fall, so roughly in 1 year, we will start producing our first tubes and paving the 3 kilometers to actually build the tube. Down the road, we have then the goal that we can actually upgrade this R&D facility. So the goal is to have the Alpha Tube running and having the first high-speed runs by 2023. And after that, it will be a continuous upgrade scheme in order to be in sync with technology, with the improvements, and to be able to really foster all these new insights that we have with our partners, with industry, with academia. And then even more into the future, of course, already some interests have come to us or some parties have contacted us to think about longer distance tracks also for passenger transport. And there we are already now doing some feasibility studies for 30+ kilometers, which we then call the Beta Tube. So maybe to wrap up, the Alpha Tube as a research platform is really to accelerate technology and to really push the market and to really engineer the new products for this industry, but for now only in a test environment and with us as a non-profit foundation. Just to give you a quick overview where we are situated. So this is the Rhône Valley in Colombey-Murat. So that's on the western side of the Lake of Geneva. And here you see some specs. We have these 3.1 kilometers of test track, which allow us to reach top speeds of 900 kilometers an hour. With our linear motor that we're currently designing, or that we have already designed to the, let's say, the bulk part, is really able to reach those cruising speeds in 3.2 seconds. So high acceleration test track, which will then allow us to test a full velocity trajectory, as you would know it then for upscale systems. This is all in a 2.4 meter tube. So it's in a almost 1-to-1 scale, and it would already symbolize, or would it be already applicable for the cargo case where you could transport Euro pallets, for example, for e-commerce or fresh food delivery? Here in the picture, you see the tube and also the launch hub, as well as the research hall. Of course, for now, a rendering. Hopefully this will change soon and we can show you actual pictures in a year from now or a bit more. This is roughly an overview, what kind of subsystems are necessary to actually provide such a vacuum transport solution. Of course, linear actuators, magnetic levitation systems, be it on the structural rails or on levitation surfaces, so different materials and different geometries. Then secondly, the shell and subtrack systems. There we have a lot of synergy, and also we have a lot of exchange with other rail-guided industry players, where we all want to have an interoperable and also very modular system so that we can exchange our railing and guiding system and really, over time have an optimally engineered system. And then of course, vacuum valves for isolation, for sector closing and air locking. I think this is for most of you clear. And then as of course, always needed, power and energy from the grid with batteries. If you want to know more, please contact me. I can give you more insights on the microgrid setup that we are currently studying, and also on the generation with the solar panels that we are looking into in the valley. And then last but not least, of course, how to create such a vacuum. You need pumps. We have a hybrid system with an air blower and two-stage pumping system, which allows us to really have an efficient pump down and low maintenance, low energy maintenance costs, to maintain the vacuum for a safe operation. Maybe I give you a quick insight on which projects we have worked in the past, where we also are currently working on. Some of them are in different, let's say, iterations. Some have already reached gamma level, so the third iteration of the prototypes after extensive testing. Here on the left, you see a shell prototype of a fiber reinforced ultra high performance concrete, which we did back with EPFL. There is also some linear motor technology that has been co-developed with Swissloop and some former alumni, and has been then a basis for new developments. Then we have the Airlock System, which is a product development that we have with InnoSwiss. There we go about to have actual product development for new isolation valves, which would then close sector by sector. And then last but not least, we also have several automation and robotic projects for the construction site. The key milestones, I just leave it up to you to read it. We had, of course, the kickoff at the Federal Palace, and then we had a lot of important milestones more on the legislation and administration side. And also recently we concluded the Beta Shell project, where we could prove really a vacuum-proof, ultra-high performance concrete, which is a scalable solution for our ultra-thin tube shells that we need for our 20-meter segments of the alpha tube. Yes, so roughly this is it. Again, I show you at the end this rendering, hopefully inspiring you to join our progress and to see where this journey is leading to. Yes, I think to wrap up, yes, stay tuned. Hopefully we will be operational by 2022. And yes, hopefully to host you or your team or your idea or your project in some way, either in Zurich with us, with the engineering, or in the Valley, actually on the test site. Happy to be back in the online seminar. And I think now I want to hand over to Lucas, who wants to present what they are doing.
Perfectly, thank you. It looks all real amazing here. Let's try to. Yes, okay, perfect. So what I'm going to present is EU HighTech. That's an initiative that has been founded at the University of Applied Sciences and Leer. And we are working towards the European Hyperloop Technology Center. So I'm going to tell you what that's going to be about and how we actually got there and how the working group here at the university now works and which projects we have going on here. I think one of you guys has to click the next one. So it started out with some crazy engineering physics student who reached out to our professors in the very first place, just as Swissloop did, because you need a faculty advisor and you want to get a student research team at your university to take part in the Hyperloop pod competition. So it started all with this international bachelor and master's program that you have. It's called engineering physics, where we have, well, the best of engineering, and so the practical part and physics, the theoretical part, all together combined. And this has been a collaboration between not only two faculties, but also a university and the University of Applied Sciences. And we have different specialization options, for example, laser and optics, renewable energies, biomedical physics, acoustics. So some of them really fit there. There's a lot of sensor technology going on. Renewables definitely is a topic that fits well with Hyperloop, and maybe that we can see Hyperloop there as well in the future. On the next slide, you can see that Hyperloop has also started small at the University of Applied Sciences and Leer. We founded the team Hyperpod X, and we've been to the design competitions and the finals in LA. And from 2015 to 2018, we've built 2 prototypes. And there have been in total probably more than 120 plus students involved in this whole project. I think it's about the same for Swissloop as well. There's a lot of students who work on this tirelessly day and night to get those prototypes ready for the competitions. It's students from all over the place. It's engineering physics, it's informatics, it's mechanical engineering, computer science, business administration, electronics, everything you need to build a pod and actually get the money to build a pod. That's also something very important here. So there's a lot of sponsoring involved. There's more than 50 companies probably. And the 2 years of prototyping here probably got like an amount of 900,000 euros if you take the money plus the sponsored parts all together that the teams actually got for their work to work on the pod and make these prototypes. It's really like a small engineering firm that has been done there. On the next slide, you can see all the partner companies. There might be some that might be familiar to you in that regard. And some of them are still, if you click once more, some of them are still with us today, working on the next phase, which is actually the research phase. On the next slide, you can see that now there's EU HighTech. EU HighTech is the European Hyperloop Technology Center. Somebody has his micro. I think Natalie can mute them. On the right side, you can see the TVE, that's the maglev test track in Emsland, Laden, which is pretty close to the University of Applied Sciences and Leer here. And it's a 31-kilometer test track for maglev testing, which is actually quite nice because if you want to build the Hyperloop in Europe, at some point in time, you actually need a large test track. There's all these 3-kilometer test tracks that are now popping up, which is pretty good because we have a lot of different technologies that are proposed for Hyperloop. So we are looking into which technology is the best one, but then you actually need to test that technology as well in a large scale environment, so on a longer test track. And that's what this test track can provide. And for now, this is a joint research group from the University of Applied Sciences and Leer and the University of Oldenburg, of course, with which the study program Engineering Physics was founded with. And now there's an initial funding from the Ministry of Science and Culture in Lower Saxony, which is looking for creating a consortium on the European scale, so to involve partners from Switzerland, for example, but also from Spain, France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Poland, so all over the place. There are partners who want to contribute to that and want to go this route with us. There's also been a framework that has been proposed. That's the Hyperion framework. You can see that in the next slide. When you want to develop Hyperloop in Europe, you need some kind of academic research network. I think you have to click 3 more times now, maybe 2 more times, let's see. You can see something that's called Hyperion, where you have the academic research network, a research infrastructure, and then you have the European Hyperloop companies, and all of them come together in this research infrastructure. I think, Fabio, can you click 3 more times? Yes, stop, that's it. Yeah, and so you see where we fit in here, EU HighTech, we are looking into creating this academic research network with all the partners in Europe, and actually look into funding, application for funding for this research infrastructure, for this large scale research infrastructure that should be built in the future. There's also one project that has been founded already. That's in EU grant for logistics called Epicenter. You can click once more here again. And that's how it looks like when you get the notification for, well, you got your money. That's a nice thing to get from the EU. So that's something that the team is working on right now. On the next slide, you can see all the partners in this consortium, once the European ones, but if you click once more, you can also see the international partners here involved. There's a lot of universities from all over the place. And on the next slide, you can see that the University of Applied Sciences and Leer is looking into a feasibility study here for impact and benefits of new technologies, for example, Hyperloop, autonomous vehicle systems, intermodality of those systems. So that is something that we are working on right now. And one click more, you can see that there's 2 PhD positions available right now that we are looking forward to getting new team members on board and growing our research group here in Oldenburg and Emden. And what is this on? If you see the next slide, there's these fields of expertise that we have, which is looking at lasers and optics, mechanical engineering, also new material science, stuff like that, but also electrical engineering, computer science, all that is needed for developing the Hyperloop and that we are building competence around. At the University of Oldenburg, there's some really interesting institutes that you can see. We have the Institute of Physics, we have a big department of computer science. There's the office, which is really, really large in computational science and computing science for logistics applications. Then we have 4Wind. There's a big wind tunnel you can see in the bottom right there, where they can test large prototypes, for example. And we have the DLR now, which is looking into distributed networks there. There's, well, maybe I don't want to bore you too much, but on the next slide, you can see some research topics that you will probably see here as well. There's magnet technology, of course, levitation. There's design of special materials, pod behavior, and stuff like that. We have some more in the bigger area of Hyperion there that you can work on, but that's mostly it. But if you want to work as a student here at University of Applied Sciences and Leer or University of Oldenburg, you can visit one of the 3 modules that I've listed here now, which are, click once more. You can see that there's the module of Hyperloop Technologies for bachelor students, Hyperloop Engineering for master students in Oldenburg. And then we have another course in Emden, which is the Wahlpflichtfach, you call it here, so specialization module. It's called Hyperloop Projects, and if you enroll in those, you can do some projects on Hyperloop technologies, and you will be able to earn credit points and also help with the research involved in this new technology. And we are very happy to welcome you there, and hopefully also see some of you then present your topics in this seminar, for example. So that's it from our side.
Cool, super. Thank you very much, Lucas. I'm also welcoming, of course, all the students that are joining throughout one of those modules. Yeah, happy to have you here, and hopefully happy to have you also next time on board and presenting some of your work. Natalie, I think the next step would be to go into some more advertisement, right? Or some more administrative topics.
Exactly, right. So, as I said at the beginning, this is the second semester we do the seminar. It was established as a collaboration of Swissloop and Eurotube. And it's like two parts. So we have the seminar on the one hand, and we do the thesis we offer together with the partners at the partner laboratories at ETH and also at Paul Scherrer Institute. So we have multiple students every semester that do a thesis in collaboration with Swissloop, Eurotube, and the mentioned partner laboratories. And as it was last semester, those students present their work and their updates during the seminar. So it's a bit different than today's seminar. Like today is only an introduction and an info session. And from in 2 weeks on, because it's bi-weekly, there will be the students presenting their work and answering your questions and discussing with you what they're working on and what they've learned. And in addition, we also have input talks by industry experts, which are people from the industry working with Swissloop and with Eurotube, and yeah, also with other universities. Then here you can see the dates from this semester's seminars. So it's today, October 12th, then in 2 weeks, October 26th, thereafter November 9th, November 23rd, and December 7th. And to give you a short insight into the topics this semester, this is a screenshot from our homepage, so you can easily access the information again later on. But to give you a short insight, so next week, or like next time in 2 weeks, we learn something about the analysis and simulation of a control strategy for levitating linear induction motors. It's held by a master student of electrical engineering from ETH, and as well an industry expert from Molinari Rail AG. It's a partner from Swissloop. Then in 4 weeks, we learn something about shock waves, like the investigation of shock waves in low pressure vacuum transport tubes. It's a bachelor thesis by a mechanical engineering student. And so in 4 weeks, we have 3 talks. The second one is about the sensing concept for automated tube installation by a master student of geomatics, and as well an industry expert from Mörgeli and Mörgeli Consulting Engineering about system risk management in action, from project controlling to system safety. Then on November 23rd, it's about a compressor application on a pod by a master student in mechanical engineering, and the design and development of a sensor network, also from a student of electrical engineering in his master's degree. And last but not least, on December 7th, we will hear about the levitation technologies for Hyperloop application from a master student of engineering physics of the University of Oldenburg and the University of Applied Sciences Emden Leer. And again about magnetic levitation from master students of the Technische Universität Berlin and the University of Bremen. And the last talk is from an industry expert on large-scale testing of Hyperloop technologies and wireless high-power transmission. So as I said, you can find this again on our website. And then on the next slide, this is the Slido tool I already mentioned.
Maybe quickly from my side, of course, you see it's already a packed schedule, and also a very diverse one. Maybe there might be also, again, some special event or special talk, not an Easter special as last time, but something else. And of course, if you have some interesting person or some topic in mind that should be really talked about, then please let us know. We're happy to include, if possible, of course, such a talk, or also have this idea for the next edition.
Exactly, and we always use this Slido tool. It's a page called slido.com where you can ask, or like we can collect questions from the audience, and then after each presentation we have a short discussion with the student who presented, and we go through all the questions you had, and you can also upvote other questions. Then we can see which questions are really important and should be addressed at the end. If you like, you can already try it out today. So it's active for today. You can try it out at slido.com, and the event code is VAC Transport Seminar. So it's active, I guess, till tomorrow. So if you like, you can have a look at it. And then, as I mentioned, we offer those theses in collaboration with Eurotube and the partner labs at ETH and PSI. That's also a screenshot from our homepage. If you're interested in a work or in a thesis, like a bachelor semester or master thesis, you can check if there's one available that interests you, or if not, you are always very welcome to reach out to Fabio or to me, and then we're sure we find an interesting topic you can work on. Because as you saw, it's very diverse, this whole vacuum transport technology, and there's still a lot of uninvestigated fields, so we always find an interesting topic. So the homepage is swissloop.ch/research, and there you can find all the information about the seminar and the thesis.
Of course, the same applies also for the guys with you, Lucas, and Emden Leer. We also, of course, want to promote this. And I think it's a very nice ecosystem that we have. And we have many projects on our side, on your website. Happy to exchange ideas. Yeah, please apply if you're interested in any.
Exactly, really nice, yeah.
Good, so we're already at the end of today's seminar. We thank you very much for your interest and for tuning in today. So last semester we had a bit less viewers than this semester. We were at 55 participators today in this seminar. So we're really happy about that, about this increase in the participants. And yes, we would like to thank you for tuning in today. And also thank you to Lucas for your insights into what you're doing in the North. And thank you to Fabio for the insight into the EuroTube Foundation. And we hope that gave the audience a bit of an overview what is going on at the moment in the field of vacuum transportation research. And we're very happy to now welcome you bi-weekly to our seminar sessions from now till the beginning of December, and show you what all our students are working on, and yeah, have interesting talks and interactions with all of you. So maybe Lucas or Fabio wants to add something.
Perfectly fine. Looking forward to it.
Nice.
Same here. Next time it will get more technical.
Yes, definitely.
If there is no urgent questions right now, then yeah, thank you very much for joining in.
Yes, thank you very much. And
I think there's some specific questions in the chat. I think if you want to work on these projects, you can probably ask with the projects directly with the people working on the modules, handing out the projects there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect.
So thank you again very much. Here on the screen, you can still see our contacts if you would like to reach out to one of us. And otherwise, we're looking forward to welcoming you in 2 weeks again to the first only technical seminar.
Good.
So good evening, everyone. Have a good evening and see you in 2 weeks.